What up? What up? What up? Welcome back to the Two Goat Show. We're your hosts, Miriah and Steph. Steph, chat, happy Halloween. What's up? How you doing, Steph?
I'm good. I'm actually I'm surprised that because we were backstage for a bit. I'm surprised you didn't say anything about my pimple patch, but it isn't a costume, so I didn't want people to think it was a costume or anything weird.
Yeah, I just thought it was something.
Just a pimple patch.
I just thought it was something you were doing for Halloween. You were being a star, so.
Yeah, sure. We could go with that.
All right. Chat, what's up, Don? I see you. Throwback, Niakila, Rob, John V. What's up, y'all? Appreciate you. Yeah, happy Halloween. If anybody's dressing up, let us know in the chat what you guys are dressing up as. If you guys have kids and they're dressing up, let us know what they're dressing up as. Share the Halloween festivities with us. Let us know what's going on. You guys, I usually hand out candy. And like I'm big into decorating for Halloween and all that, but the last couple of years, I go through all the trouble to decorate. We do pumpkins, right? Do all that. Buy the candy that's now like $30 a bag. Do all that and not have one single kid come. Like I just sit here all night long staring out. Like I feel like I'm a little kid again, waiting for my mom to come get me from my grandma's.
Oh no!
Like staring out the window, like just waiting. And yeah, nobody comes. So this year I didn't do anything. Didn't decorate. Didn't get pumpkins. This is the most I'm doing. So be happy, guys, because you guys get all my Halloween fun this year. But yeah, I don't know if it's like since like the COVID or like what people like kids don't go out as much or I don't know what it is.
That's what I think because my fiance mentioned it the other day. She was like, I feel like people don't like kids don't trick or treat anymore. And I'm just like, well, we live in an apartment complex and we have for like the past 3 years. So I think for us, we definitely don't get anyone. But yeah, I do think that COVID did impact that a lot. I don't know what kids do now.
Yeah, I don't know. I know they have like those safe, like they call them like safe street, whatever that's what they call them here in Vegas, where like they'll have like the cops sometimes put them on, or like the mall, or you know different things like that. Do like trick or treating events. A lot of the churches I know do stuff, in like their parking lots, like trunk or treats or whatever. So maybe I don't know, but we used to even the events like when I was younger. And they didn't have, as much of those events like they do now. But the couple they did have, they were never like Halloween night. They were always like, the day before, 2 days before, the weekend before. Right. So you could do that and still go trick or treating, So I don't know. What's this?
Yeah,
I was thinking about that earlier because I was like, the thing is too, because we live in an apartment and all the other apartments where we lived before, our patio light, we had control over, right? So we could turn on the lights, off, whatever. These apartments, we share a patio light and it just comes on when it gets dark out. So every apartment's patio lights are just on. So kids, unless you actually have like real decorations out there, like we used to just go buy whatever house had the lights on. Whether they had decorations or not, the lights were on, so we were going not there, right? Yeah. Like, well, here they can't decipher like which one's which because everybody's lights just always on all the time. So I think that plays a part into why like here. But like I see other apartments here, like they're all decorated up and stuff. So I'm like, maybe I don't know if I'm just in like the end location, so they're like, we're not going all the way over there. I don't know what the hell, but
or maybe you could put up a sign and it just says like no candy, like no. Sorry.
Go away.
I didn't say that, but
we can't afford candy.
If that's your you need to go to Walmart to get some candy, Miriah. I think that's what you need. Or the dollar store. The dollar store sells some of the same stuff, just in like individual bags instead of assortments, but it still ends up being cheaper.
Yeah, whatever. Let me see what chat's saying real quick. kettle corn, popcorn, the microwavable kind. I love kettle corn. I love me some kettle corn. That's sweet and salty. Let me see what. Give me horror. Did you guys see the 49ers real quick, and then we'll get off this Halloween topic? Let me pull up these pictures because I don't know who this is supposed to be. So I said, I'll tell you guys what I guess, and my wife made me feel stupid, so I'm guessing that's not what it's supposed to be. So hold on, let me pull up the picture. I'm gonna pull up these 49ers. I wish they would like all take pictures and release them to us so we could see what they're dressing up for at the party. They're like so stingy with it.
Was it a 49ers like did all the players go, or was it just Kittle and like some of his buddies?
I don't know. Usually all the players go, don't they?
I don't know.
I thought usually it's like an actual 49ers like party thing like that they do.
Maybe.
That could be wrong. But I thought they always do something every year. All right, you guys, I got it here. I wasn't ready for it. That's why. All right. So, what is Juice and his wife?
Oh, it was my cousin Vinny.
My cousin Vinny. Oh. I don't know. By this, not by the hair. I had no clue what Juice was by just a black fucking whatever. So I thought it was something about her top, and I don't know, maybe her makeup or something. I thought she was trying to be Ariana Grande.
Oh.
And my wife's like, she would have her hair in a ponytail, and I'm like, okay, sorry, like shit, I don't know what she's supposed to be. But this is cute. CMC and his wife and the dog and it all like hella cute. And then they were saying that Kittle like had this whole costume like made specially like for this. Like this is a legit like costume here. So I'm like,
yeah,
man.
No, the Kittle
and then
one.
Debo's son, Debo Jr.
I love it. He's so cute.
What did you say?
No, yeah. I said Kittle's was legit.
Yeah, they look good. I love this one though. Did you guys see they had released like this little, I don't know if it came from her Instagram or what, but it was like a little video where she's like there showing her costume, and then it shows CMC and he's just like standing there like so weird. Like I don't know what the hell. I'm like, either he hates that costume or I know. Like he's not down with this. But he looks much better in that picture than he did in the video, that's for sure. I'm like, he don't look happy at all. They need to oil up that Tin Man and get his ass back out there, though. Hopefully, we get to see him soon.
My suspicion was that he wasn't a fan of the costume because people were gonna make that joke.
Yeah,
because this is the first one that popped in my mind.
I know it was the first thing that popped into my mind too. I see you all. Happy Halloween, Jimmy, Matthew, Fish and Chips, Alberto, Steve-O. Not you, Steph. I was about to say Steph. She's tricking me.
I mean, why not? Why not me?
Who else we got? Who else do we have? I don't know if I actually called out Lava, but Lava. All right, let's talk some 49ers. So I figured since it's the bye week and we don't have, a game to get into. Let me see. I can't see you guys, so bear with me. All right. I feel like an old lady trying to read my notes. All right. So, yeah, 4-4. We talked about how we weren't going to come into this week feeling like shit, right? If we dropped that game to the Dallas, like we were going to be in a bad spot going into the bye. 3-5, 4-4 ain't great, but it's much better than 3-5. So pretty much like the way I'm looking at it, and I think it was, I don't know if it was Fred or Kittle, one of them had said coming out of the bye, since we're 500, it's like a new season for us every game. We just have to go out and win each game, right? Like what happened before the bye, like there's nothing we can do about that. So I'm like, okay, as long as we can make it through this rest of the season, maybe losing 2 games, maybe we can go on a roll and get things going. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being, I know it was just the Cowboys. We always kicked our ass. So it's kind of like, how do we judge the 49ers? Are they going to get things going and start heading upwards, or was it just the Cowboys and, we're going to come the rest of the season? How are you feeling right now, Steph, sitting at 4-4 as we are entering the bye?
I mean, I'm obviously relieved that they won that game against the Cowboys. That is a game they needed to win, whether it was against a bad team or not. Like, you have to win those games to prove you're not a bad team, right? So at 4-4, I feel better about the team, but I'm very cautiously optimistic because I feel like I still don't know what this team is and what they can do, how far they can go this season. I really do not know. My optimism comes solely from the fact that Christian McCaffrey and Dre Greenlaw are going to come back. And I kind of feel like they can, like Christian McCaffrey, for example, I think can go a long way in if he is 100%. That's the other thing. Like we're assuming that if he comes back, he's 100%. He looks like himself. So that's another thing. But assuming that he does, right? He looks like, Christian of old, then I think it would go a long way to fixing some of the 49ers issues in the red zone and also on third down. It might not completely fix it, but I think it would, like I said, go a long way to helping that. So that's why I do have some optimism. But I'm also cautious because I think I'm not sure what this team is. I think for them to have struggled with some of these issues in the first 8 weeks of the season, like that's a pretty long time. Like that isn't just a couple weeks, right? So are the issues that they're having, like execution issues, are they so deep rooted that they're not going to be able to fix it after the bye week, right? Like, is there something else going on? I don't know. But I don't know what this team is. I don't know if they're contenders or pretenders, but I look like Rob was on my show yesterday and he gave me a reason for optimism regarding Kyle Shanahan, like after the bye week. It's actually insane, the numbers. So since becoming head coach of the 49ers, before the bye week, whether the bye week is early in the season or later in the season, before he's 25-37, right? So under 500, 40% of wins. And then after the bye week, 43-18.
Wow.
He wins 70% of games. So that's crazy. And so Rob was kind of just explaining to me this just, for one, it's a large sample size and it shows that Kyle, for whatever reason, that bye week, he kind of uses it as a big adjustment time to, I guess, at that point, he knows what other teams are trying to do against him and kind of adjusts and counters based on that for the rest of the season. So when I learned that, I was like, that's very interesting. Even in the seasons where they were pretty bad, for the most part, this held true that they go on runs after bye weeks. So I think that's another reason for me to feel a little more optimistic about what this team can be. We've said it, right? Early in the season, we were like, this is the same team for the most part, right? From last year. I know there's some differences, but they should be able to have success still.
Yeah.
I think we know that. So it's just right there for the taking. We'll see what happens. I truly do not know, but I see some reasons for optimism, and I also see some reasons for maybe some doubt.
Yeah, those are some pretty crazy numbers. And yeah, like as with any, numbers, everything's subjective. Like Fish and Chip says, those bye-week stats are very subjective, i.e. strength of schedule, team records, injuries, both teams, etc., can't be trusted.
True. I wouldn't say it can't be trusted, but I do think that's important context to consider in it too. Like context is always good when you have it. But like I said, it's a large enough sample size that I think it shows something. You can dig into it deeper if you want and look into all the context of it, but I think the sample size is good enough.
Fish and Chips is also saying that a good judgment, like marker to judge the 49ers will be after, we play Buffalo and see what that looks like. Yeah, I think real quick, I wanted to bring up these comments. Sim says, I'm handing out packs of baby carrots tonight.
Oh, damn.
Look, when he runs out of that, I got chia seeds. Then he's a happy cavity day. You're crazy, Sim, I swear. And I wanted to read this real quick. Dawn says, Ariel, this is her daughter's. Ariel's the girl chef from Ratatouille, and Jayla is dressed up as Emma, cosplay character. I have no clue who that is.
Emma. I have no idea.
I swear, like 80% of the times, once my daughter got old enough to dress up as whatever she wanted, like I never knew who the hell she was being. Like who is that? And what is that?
Right.
All right. So you brought up CMC, so that was gonna be a little subject that we talked about, what Kyle said about getting some players back. CMC obviously was one of them. He said up until this point he's had no setbacks. This is since they've like shut him down. That they've started gradually doing things, and that he had no setbacks during that. He said this week, as they ramp stuff up, as long as, everything goes okay, then, hopefully we'll be good to open up his practice window. Dre Greenlaw, he said, hopefully once we get back from the bye week, he'll be week to week. So no set like time on when to expect him back yet, but at least week to week's better than month to month and better than, whatever it was prior to that. So, hopefully, time's shortening on getting Dre back up there. And then for these other guys, he also said they're pretty much week to week as well. That's Yeter, Gross Matos, and then Hafunga as well. He said with Hafunga that he would have to play in a cast, so he's not sure, how he'll do with that, obviously, until they try it, I'm guessing. So we'll see how that goes. The good thing, though, is Juwan Jennings, he said after the bye should be good to go. So love to hear that. You can definitely see, especially on third downs, on those crucial, like, move the chains moments, like Juwan Jennings severely missed out there. Yeah. And then Kevin Gibbons, he said that after the bye, he probably will miss that first game back. But hopefully he'll be good to come back after that. So on all those guys, thoughts on where we are with getting them back.
Yeah, I think for the most part, like it's pretty positive on where the 49ers stand with injuries. Like, yeah, they were bitten by the injury bug in the first half of the season. But I mean, if things continue to trend in the way they are right now, I feel pretty good and better about the second half of the season, right? So Cushing coming back, like I said, going to be huge. Greenlaw coming back, I'm really encouraged to hear that after the bye, it's week to week, because to me that just means like any week, like he can get activated again. So that's going to be huge for the defense, because I think while the defense has managed to stay afloat without Greenlaw, there's an energy missing, right? That I think only Greenlaw can bring. So with him and Warner, we know how that goes. So I'm excited for them. Juwan Jennings, yeah, like I wasn't too worried about his injury. It was a shame that, he missed 2 games, but glad that he's going to be back for the second half of the season because they're going to need him, right? Without Ayuk now, he's going to have a larger role. He's going to be starting next to Debo. So, yeah, definitely need his services. And we know that he can handle it. Like that one game that we dealt with all the injuries, the Rams game, right? Was it?
I think so.
Yeah, like he went off. So he could definitely handle it. He obviously has good rapport with Brock. So I'm looking forward to that. And he definitely deserves that bigger role. So and then the interior, the defensive line, getting Kevin Givens back is huge. They brought back not back, but they brought Evan Anderson to the 53 man, so that's good too. On the surface, like it looks like interior defensive line, maybe not as big of a need as we might have thought it was like 2-3 weeks ago, right? After Javon Hargrave went down. So yeah, I think things are looking up a little bit in terms of the injuries.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Hargrave, he also had said that it's possible for him to return in the playoffs. So that's, that would, if hopefully we get, in there, and that's always a nice welcome back, to be able to bolster up that D line right at the, most important time. So that would be great if he is able to come back. All right, so I had named this show Wishes because, since it's the bye week, plus the trade deadline is as well, coming. I figured we'll talk, a little bit about some changes, some wishes we have from the inside and from the outside. And, after that, we're going to, don't get too far ahead to let you know what's coming up. We're going to do some bi-week grades. Okay, so if somebody's pissing you off, Steph, don't be talking about it yet, okay? All right.
All right.
All right, so wishes from the inside. So obviously, not trades, no free agents, but some changes, that you would like to see. You had even already brought it up that during the bye, this seems to be the time when Kyle, changes shit up, does what he needs to do, and they go on a run, right? So if it was up to you, what changes would you be making? Whether that's, personnel, coaching, scheme, whatever, like some play, whether, we have starters that need to get benched, whether, whatever, what changes would you like to see from the inside?
Yeah, I think so a couple weeks ago, right? Like I mentioned that I'd like to see more creativity from Kyle Shanahan. I know like there's already some creativity, but like I guess I want to see like different stuff, right? Stuff that we haven't seen, stuff that opposing teams haven't seen from this team. And I think I'll just say this, like the Debo plays, like the end arounds, the gimmicky Debo stuff just not working anymore. So we need to turn the page on that. And so that's what I'm saying, like creativity, something new. But along those lines, right? Like using your players' skill sets to your advantage, right? I'm thinking I want to see more of Ricky Pearsall. And I think we will in the second half of the season. Now it's like a need. So I think giving him like a role that fits his skill set is going to be good. I've already seen like he gets open, so I'm not worried about that. I really loved the end around, that he got, and he hit a second gear on that when he got 30 plus yards. So more of that, more things like that. I want to see more Jacob Cowing. I'd love to see Cowing over Ronnie Bell, right? I understand there's obviously like there's something that Ronnie Bell does that the coaches like, right? My guess is blocking. That's probably what they value. But
yeah,
and maybe Cowan's just not as good of a blocker right now. That is possible because he wasn't the best coming out of college. So if Cowan could, improve in that area, I would like to see Cowan over Ronnie Bell in the second half of this season, because I think just another element that this team can use that they didn't really have as much of in the past, right? Like speed out of the wide receiver group. We saw against the Chiefs how you can use that, right? So I also would like to see when Christian McCaffrey is back, I want Jordan Mason and I want Isaac Guerendo to continue to stay involved. I think both Mason and Guerendo, very different runners. Like all three of them are super different. So like change of pace. Like, so I think you can use that to your advantage too. One, obviously, like Christian McCaffrey, it keeps him fresh and not overdoing it after his Achilles tendonitis, but also you keep three guys who are pretty good at what they do on the field at different points. So I know it's tough to involve three different guys, but look at the Bucs, right? Like they have three running backs that they involve, mostly the top two. But still, I think there's a role going forward for each of those guys, and maybe different points of a game against different types of opponents, right? Like you can deploy one over the other just because of what they do is so different. But I just like to see more on the defensive side. I want to continue to see the rookies. I think we're already seeing that, and that's pretty much a given that we're going to see like Mustafa, that we're going to see Renardo Green starting over some of the veterans. I like that, so I want to continue to see that. I would like them to address, defensive line via the trade deadline if they do decide that they want to bring someone in this, in the next week or so. So yeah, another pass rusher would be great, and I think that could do wonders for the defense. You know how I feel about special teams, right? They did play their best game against the Cowboys, which to me that's a big deal. Like I have to give them their flowers for that, because the Cowboys special teams is like the best in the league. That's like the only thing they do well. So I was encouraged by that. I want to see it continue. Obviously, like when Kyle has been asked about it and like potentially making a change, he hasn't even considered it, he said. So I'm done complaining, or like I'm done assuming that that's something that can happen. I don't think it will, but obviously I have them on notice. Like I'm keeping an eye on them, and they need to make sure they're not the reason the 49ers lose a game or are close to losing a game, right? So
yeah,
they need to be more consistent. That's my gripe with special teams. But yeah, I think for the most part, seen some good things. Just want to see more of it. Like going back to the offense, like right, George Kittle has been heavily involved in like the red zone, right? And he has 6 touchdowns on the season. Want to see more of that. Want to see that continue, basically. And I think it will. So that's not really a change or an adjustment, but just something that I've noticed and I want to see more of.
Yeah, I would definitely love to see more George Kittle. What you talked about with the running backs, like I really, 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 really hope that Kyle I'm hesitating because this statement I'm about to say, we hardly see this happen. But I'm really hoping that Kyle learns his lesson with something for once in his life. And when CMC does come back, do not run him into the ground. Like you have capable running backs that you probably wouldn't have even used unless, given now this opportunity that they got to actually play. But given that opportunity, they got to show Shanahan that they can be trusted to actually get out there and do what needs to be done. So when CMC comes back, I'm really, really, really hoping that Kyle does the right thing and, splits up these carries. Like there was times last year when I know that, 95% of this fan base was screaming at their TV because it's, late in the fourth quarter, the 49ers are up by 20 points, and you still have CMC out there rushing the ball when Jordan Mason's healthy and capable as could be, just standing on the sideline doing nothing. And it was just like, why are you continuing to run CMC into the ground when you have other running backs? Use them. Like, these guys make the roster for a reason, And so, like, I'm hoping that now, obviously Jordan Mason, you could tell Shanahan already had started gaining trust for him, but now with him getting hurt and Isaac Guerendo getting the opportunity and him showing that he's capable of doing the same thing, it's like, I really hope that Shanahan splits up. And it don't have to be, like, well, all depending too on how CMC is. Like, do we have a 50% CMC, a 70% CMC, a 90% CMC? Like, so if he's good, of course, give him 15, 20, whatever. But at the same time, you can use the other running backs and be lining we're short on wide receivers now. You could be lining CMC out wide too, so it's like you could be using two running backs at the same time. Like, you don't need to be just having these guys sitting on the sideline when CMC comes back and not do shit with them. Like, they've proved they deserve to have touches, let them be out there. So that's my whole thing. Like, yeah, they can say CMC's had no setbacks, but it's like, well, what's he really been doing? He hasn't had contact, right? Like, I highly doubt he's getting tackled in whatever he's doing. Like, I don't know. I just hope that they're just smart about it, and like, we don't get CMC back for 1 week and then it's just like, okay, well, that was that, I don't know.
I think we're all thinking that, right? Like, I think we're all happy that McCaffrey's coming back, but I think we also know that you've invested a lot in McCaffrey, and not just that, but like, you need your return on investment too, which is McCaffrey being healthy and doing things for your team. He can't do things for your team, for your offense, if he's hurt. And so they got to think about, what can we do? How can we maximize Christian McCaffrey, but also like within reason, where we're also protecting him from himself, protecting him from getting hurt. I agree. Like, it's been way more like snaps and like involvement for McCaffrey than I think we even expected at times. And I get it. Like, he's good. He's one of the best, right? He's certainly the best in the league. But yeah, I think you have to protect Christian from himself too, because like, he's on the sideline and he's pouting. Like, he wants to be out there, and I know he pushes to play every snap. That's him. So yeah, he, like, Kyle needs to, and Bobby Turner, like, they all need to kind of know, like, hey, like, we're not going to run Christian into the ground. Christian, like, this is for your own good. We are not going to do this. Like, look what happened when you insisted on getting all those snaps. Now you're dealing with Achilles tendonitis. So I don't know. In a way, like, all this that happened to him, I'm hoping maybe it was a bit of a wake up call that, hey, like, if you want to play 5 more years in the league or however long you want to play, like, you need to dial it back a little bit with the load.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I want, like, I can't wait to see CMC back on the field, but at the same time, it's just like, man, like, I'm just so worried. And it's not like I'm worried about him, like, that's my son, like, oh my God, like, I don't want him to get out there and like his future is like fucked because, like, just something stupid happens.
Well, when you said,
I know that happens with any player though, like, at the same time,
When you said that, I remember when Christian's dad went on the radio and he pretty much insinuated the same, like,
yep,
you kind of have to help him from himself. And it seems like a lot of people haven't been able to do that because I'm sure his dad has probably told him the same. Like, hey, dude, like it's okay to take a few snaps off. Like, Christian's gonna Christian.
Mm-hmm. Sim says CMC's dad said it's more due to Christian pushing too hard in the off season that got him hurt. Like, but I think he goes all hard regardless.
Yeah, he does. Like, it's all related. You know?
Like everything ties into it because that, like, he goes 110% at practice, during the game, during the off season, at home. You know, like everything football related. That guy like gives everything he has to it, and I just really hope we get to see him back and everything works out. All right. So, you had brought up a little bit about, trading for, I think you had said D-line, but are there any other, spots that you think we could trade for, or any, like, I don't know who's even available on the free agent block right now? I know Sim had brought up adding a tight end. How do you think, where else? Is there anywhere else we need to add depth or?
Yeah, I mean, if not defensive line, I might have said linebacker, because I think we all are done with the Devondre Campbell thing. But again, like, if we feel like Greenlaw is going to come back and he's going to be that same dude, then I don't have too much of a worry there. It's like, it's just a matter of time. We just got to be patient. And I would say, I would definitely be open to wide receiver, like, for depth, because Chris Conley now week to week. Ayuk's already out. But I part of me wonders if they sat on their hands too long a little bit with the wide receiver thing, because there was Deontay Johnson, there was, who was it? Hopkins that went to the Chiefs. Like, there's been a lot of wide receiver trades since, Brandon Ayuk got hurt. Maybe not a lot, but there's a few, enough that I'm no longer interested in a lot of the guys that are out there. There's Kendrick Bourne, which would be depth. He's not taking snaps from. I wouldn't even take. I would still have Ricky Pearsall playing over Kendrick Bourne. If they brought Bourne back, but just for depth, I guess. But I mean, my main priority is defensive line. Like, they need another pass rusher. I mean, you can always use more of those, so that's probably where I want Azeez Ojulari from the Giants. He's 24 years old, so it'd be a trade not just for this season. Because I'm not a huge fan of rentals. If you don't win it that year, it's like, okay, what was that for, right? Like Chase Young, that was a waste.
Exactly.
But Azeez would benefit you, past this season as well, because he's young. And I'm not saying, Invader saying he's too small. I'm just looking at, and he's not a starter for the Giants, by the way. So he's a rotational guy, but he's a very effective and talented rotational guy. I think that's all the 49ers really need. You definitely don't want Leonard Floyd being a 3-down pass rusher either. So they kind of can mix in here and there. So yeah.
So a couple names that chat's bringing up. So Invader had brought up Zadarius Smith. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I mean, that's another one too. Like, for sure, I wouldn't be mad at that one either. Because I guess I'm just assuming that the Lions make that trade. I guess I'm surprised they haven't yet. The 49ers should definitely be on the line with the Browns for him, or just anyone else on their defense and their defensive line that they're willing to give up. I was bummed that Uche went to the Chiefs, like, for a 6th round pick.
Why do teams keep sending players there? Like, what the hell is wrong with you guys? Like, I don't understand why we keep making them better. It's like so ridiculous. I'm over this shit.
Okay, some teams are desperate, man. So I guess, but
John V says Dexter Lawrence send a first and a second.
Wow. I mean, oh no. I like when my team has a first round pick.
I know, me too. We barely just started having one again.
Right? I know. Let us have it.
Ronnie says, what about Hunter Renfrow as a wide receiver?
Yeah, but he's like the reason like him or like Adam Thielen or any of these other like smaller receivers, like they're slot guys, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like do the 49ers need a slot guy? No, should be Ricky Pearsall, right? Like, but again, I guess for depth, but do you need another slot guy? Because like Ronnie Bell's your backup slot guy. It could even be Jacob Cowing, right? So I don't know. A lot of the wide receivers that are left, I don't think fill the need that the 49ers are looking for, which is or like the hole that Brandon Ayuk left. There isn't a wide receiver left that fills that.
Yeah, I agree. All right.
Maybe Sterling Shepard. Maybe. He's kind of a speedster.
Yeah. Let's have you guys start entering this giveaway as we start giving out our grades and then get out of here. So hashtag Halloween to get in there. Giving away some orange goats.
Nice.
Okay. See those orange goats? All right. So hashtag Halloween. And you can enter from either channel, from both channels. So get in there. All right, Steph. So since we're sitting at the bye, I thought now would be a good time for us to grade these position groups. And then once we get to the end of the season, and do some end of the season grades, we'll compare about how they did, how they really came back from this bye and did. Not some made up stats. Okay, Steph? All right. So let's start with the offense. We're going to do each position group. We don't need to spend a lot of time on each one. But we'll do each position group and the coach of the entire group. So Kyle Shanahan, the DC, and then the coach of special teams. Okay?
All right. Yep.
All right. So let's start with offense. We'll start with quarterback. How would you say Brock and his backups are doing?
I would give Purdy a B.
B. I like it. All right. And I'm with you. Wide receivers. Now this one's tricky because we got a bunch of injuries and all this weird shit. So, as a group, where do you think they're sitting right now?
I'd give the wide receiver group a C because, like, I think your two starters, Debo, Brandon Ayuk took a long time to get going. Now he's hurt for the season. So he didn't really even get to see his turning point really this season. And Debo, I mean, Debo's Debo. Like he's gonna do what he does best, but what he does best isn't necessarily like traditional like receiver things. Like still a special player, but as a wide receiver group, I don't think he counts too much. Like he's not gonna change the grade for me single-handedly, and he was also hurt for a game or two. So Juwan Jennings, I think, weirdly enough, he's kind of been the best wide receiver. Yeah. Like it's so weird. Like what? But no. I mean, Debo has had his moments and he's had big plays, right? But like, yeah, I think Jennings has been the most consistent. I'll just say that. So C for all of them.
All right. Running backs.
I'm gonna go B plus. So I love what Jordan Mason has done. I give Jordan Mason alone maybe like an A minus, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think what he's done in his expanded role, it was like a revelation. Like, yes, we all knew that there was something there with Mason, and we knew he was, if he got a shot, he'd be good. But I don't even think we thought he'd be this good, right? And this consistent. So yeah, I appreciate what he's done, and he's also been involved in like the pass game too, which is valuable. I think his pass blocking has gotten better as well. The only reason I'd give him an A minus, him alone, is because there's still something missing, right? Like, and I think it's not a knock on him. It's just the fact that he's not Christian McCaffrey, and that's not his fault, right? But like, yeah, there's some elements to this offense that are missing, like scoring touchdowns and things like that. Third down, still not that great. So Mason and this running back group alone hasn't been the difference to the 49ers being able to do that. And Grendo's still coming along. Like I've seen some good improvements week to week with him. But yeah, definitely still a lot to improve. So I think B- is pretty fair.
All right. Tight ends.
George Kittle is carrying. Yeah, Kittle is carrying. I'm gonna say A-. Like, so Sauber has made some mistakes that like are in the back of my mind, and most recently his penalty that negated a touchdown. So I'm mad about that still.
Yeah.
So that's like the last memory of Sauber I have in my mind. But Kittle has been phenomenal. Like, he's been so good this year. He looks like an all-pro. He looks like the best, most consistent tight end in the league through the first 8 weeks of the season. So yeah, that A- for him.
John V says trade Levi's Stadium for Myles Garrett.
Let's do it. We'll play in the backyard. Who cares?
O-line.
I'll give O-line a B. I do think they're much improved from last season. Dominic Pooney alone, I think, has provided a huge boost for the 49ers, both pass blocking and run blocking. So I think, yeah, like that's pretty significant. I would say, obviously the issues still remain. Like, Brendel could be better. Colton McKivitz at times, could be better. So, but I still think overall I'd give them a B.
I like it. All right, Kyle,
I would give him a C through the first 8 weeks.
Better improve, sir. All right, let's go defense. Let's start with the D-line.
I'm gonna say B-. Either B- or C+. Like, they've dealt with a lot of injuries too. I think they've come along pretty slowly as well. When you think about some of the guys they signed this season, this off season, I think with each week they get a little more better integrated into the defensive line, and maybe like, the 49ers figuring out how to use them best. But yeah, it's still not at the level that I know it could be and should be for like this defense. We have really high expectations for our defensive lines, so they're definitely not quite there where I would like them to be.
I agree. All right, linebackers.
This one's tough too, because you got Fred, who's like A+, and then you got like Devondre Campbell, who's like a D. So I'm gonna go B-. I think like when we have seen some of the other linebackers, like D. Winters, even though it's been like limited, right? Because like I feel like he gets snaps and then he gets hurt, like, or something happens.
I know, it's crazy.
But I'm encouraged by what I've seen from him. So overall, I'm gonna, what did I say B-? Yeah.
Yep. All right, safeties.
I'm gonna go C with the safeties. So Jair Brown hasn't had the season that I was expecting him to. I think like I was really expecting him to take a second year leap. His best game of the season was against the Cowboys. Like he played a great game against Cowboys, but was pretty inconsistent before that. Malik Mustafa has been better than expected too, right out the gate, like coming in for Hufanga, eventually taking over George Odom's spot. Like that's pretty big. So I got to give him some props. But yeah, I think Jair Brown weighing this down just a tad. And just the fact that Mustafa's still learning, right? So
yeah, young group. Cornerbacks.
I'm gonna give them an A-. Like Mooney Ward's been he's been inconsistent too this season, right? Lenore has been lights out. Like he's on Fred Warner level of domination on this defense. So he's carrying this big time for me. The minus is because of Mooney Ward. And then when you think about starting the season with Isaac Yadam and then making that switch to Renardo Green, like that didn't happen until a couple weeks ago. So I could even say B+ just because of Yadam alone.
Yeah.
The 49ers like pivoted from that pretty quickly, I'd say.
All right, DC.
I'm gonna give Sorensen a B or B- because like I think just considering that he's a first-time defensive coordinator, he's done pretty well with what he's had to work with. Again, we talk about the injuries. I'll just say I think that's pretty fair.
All right. Special teams. So kicker.
Yeah.
Now we're on our third one. So weird.
I'm gonna say B for the kickers. I mean, I think for the most part, like they've been fine and getting some kicks in, so can't complain too much. Just the injuries have been weird.
I saw. Have you like the Jets were having like problems with their kicker, like missing all these field goals. So they tried out, like, I swear, 10 different freaking kickers, assigned 2 of them. I'm like, I think the 49ers have gotten pretty lucky with this kicker situation, considering, like they're still managing to find guys right away that are able to make kicks somehow. So, like, I think we're doing okay there.
Yeah.
Hashtag Halloween to get into the giveaway. We're about to draw. Punter, Mr. Wisnowski.
I'm gonna say maybe
Boo.
D- too.
Like, what happened to him?
I don't know. Oh, I have no idea.
Didn't he just get paid too?
It was wasn't it like last season or something that he got his extension?
A younger freaking punter or something.
Extending a punter is
like
pretty crazy though.
Yeah. Like, draft a freaking young guy in the 7th round and carry on. Like, why are we carrying this old guy that was already old to begin with when we drafted him? And then you're extending him, and he is like, seriously, I feel like he's one of the worst in the league right now. Like, he is bad
right now. Yeah, he's been exceptionally bad this year. Didn't he have an injury in like during training camp?
I don't give a shit. If you're too hurt to play, get your ass on injured reserve and let us get somebody in there that can do the job. I don't care. All right. So I didn't want to put like the return guy because it's kind of been like, different and all that. So I just put like special teams overall. So like their shitty ass, return game, them letting the other teams return and run all over their asses. What do you grade that?
I'll say D, and the only reason I'm not giving it an F is because the kickers have been okay. Like they've been doing their job.
All right. And the coach.
Brian Schneider, an F.
Yes. F minus.
A G.
F out of here. Z. A U for unemployment. Like, oh my God. I wish Kyle would just have the balls to fire his ass over the freaking bye. Like, I know it's not going to happen, but I am going to start hoping and praying when I go to sleep at night that I wake up in the morning and that notification is going to come across my phone during the bye week that that guy is out of here. And I don't want to wish nobody out of their job, but oh my God, I can't take a whole season of this. Like, it is so bad. Like, I was sick, so worried sick going into this Cowboys game. Because like you said, and we talked about it, them being the top and us being the bottom. And actually, like, surprisingly, they did way better than I was expecting. So
that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
I hope that those are changes to come, like that they switched up something and don't have everybody running to the left while the guys returners running on the right and shit. Like, I'm really hoping they whatever changes they made against Dallas, I'm hoping that's a upward trajectory of things to come. Because man, scary. All right, let's draw.
While you draw, if the special teams is just the same as it was last year, I'd be happy. And that's sad because they weren't even good last year. But it's like they somehow managed to get worse. So I just want them to go back to 2023 version, like, if they could.
I feel like this has been a every season complaints for the last since Kyle's been here. Special teams has been ass. And it continues to get asser and asser as we go.
Yes.
All right. Let's draw these winners. If I could see. All right. I'm going to draw the winner we'll draw Joe Montana first, and then we'll draw the Jerry Rice second. Okay. Let me write this down. All right, so Montana, good luck. RJ, congrats. All right, and for Jerry Rice, good luck. Woo!
What the heck?
RJ came in and he got out the brooms on your ass.
A sweep.
He got out the Halloween broom on those asses. Congrats, RJ. RJ, if you're on Twitter, if you can DM me your mailing info, and then once I send out giveaways, then I'll mail them out to you. Congrats. Yeah, what else you got going on, Steph?
It is bye week, so I'm kind of chilling until if there's something that pops up as far as a trade, then I will be all over it and I'll be going live. But if not, next show's not until Tuesday, and that would be Bully Ball. So taking it easy.
There you have it. RJ didn't want to sweep your asses. He wanted me to give one of those away to somebody else. But
you are getting both.
He's getting it, so I don't care. You're taking it.
Right.
Yeah. I appreciate everybody hanging out with us this Halloween afternoon. If you guys are going out, taking the kids out, going out partying, please make sure you guys are safe out there. Not just tonight, but this next leading up week and a half or whatever until, the president's elected. Please, please, please make sure you guys are being aware, being safe, because I don't know. I feel like shit's going to be getting crazy. So just be careful, protect you guys, protect your family. I want everybody to be back here with us again next week and continuing on throughout. So, yeah, Steph, next week we'll get into the game and all that good stuff. But until then, I hope everybody has a safe, wonderful rest of your night, rest of your weekend. Enjoy the bye week, enjoy some football, enjoy your family, touch some grass. We're out of here. Peace. Touch some pumpkins, touch something. Side your keyboard. Peace.